But it is under this cloud of hysteria that a conservative and a reactionary state assembly is going to pass one of the most racist pieces of legislation that give rise to a fascist pig posing as the sheriff for Maricopa County. And then it will encourage other states to begin to adopt similar pieces of legislation. But it was known as Arizona Senate Bill 1070, or SB 1070, as it became popularly known. And it made it a state misdemeanor crime for an immigrant to be in Arizona without carrying the required documents. It required that state law enforcement officers attempt to determine an individual's immigration status during a lawful stop, detention, or arrest when there is reasonable suspicion that the individual is an illegal immigrant. Now, the law barred state or local officials or agencies from restricting enforcement of federal immigration laws, and it imposed penalties on those sheltering, hiring, and transporting unregistered immigrants. Now, this law encouraged racial profiling, violation of civil rights, and it led to movements for change, boycotts, and protests that still resonate today. We're going to go to Democracy Now! We're going to listen to Juan Gonzalez assess the situation back in 2010 when SB 1070 passed. And crew, if you could go ahead, I know that the clip goes to 8:55, but let's cut it at a reasonable point, around 5 minutes, if that's possible. Thanks.
Problemas Raciales by Legendario, and it's specifically about the SB 1070 law. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
We go now to Arizona, where Wednesday's federal ruling temporarily blocking key provisions of that state's notorious anti-immigrant law, Senate Bill 1070, has done nothing to quell the fierce debate around immigration. Arizona Governor Jan Brewer swiftly appealed the ruling by U.S. District Judge Susan Bolton. Politicians in 18 states said they wanted to push similar measures, and protesters rallied from coast to coast, demonstrating against the Arizona law. In Phoenix, hundreds came out early Thursday morning to protest and state civil disobedience actions. This is Sharon Lungo, one of the hundreds of demonstrators who arrived in a caravan from California to protest in the streets of Phoenix.
Yesterday's ruling was not a victory. It was a compromise. It doesn't represent the dignity that people here are representing today by taking the streets, by putting themselves on the line, by putting themselves at risk to tell the people of this world that we deserve human rights, that all people deserve human rights, that borders they're political lines that are drawn by other people.
At least 50 people were arrested by federal officers, Phoenix police officers, and Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio's deputies. Among those arrested were civil rights leader Salvador Reza of the organization Puente, former state Senate Majority Leader Alfredo Gutierrez, and two legal observers, attorney Sunita Patel of the Center for Constitutional Rights and Roxana Orell of the National Lawyers Guild. In addition, longtime Arizona Republic photographer Dave Siebert was detained and handcuffed for 2 hours. Ernesto Lopez was among several demonstrators who chained themselves to the Phoenix jail.
I'm not too happy about Arpaio being out in the community today. I'm not too happy about Obama sending troops down to the border. And it doesn't look like reform is going to happen anytime soon. So we feel like we have to do something to make Obama listen. Not just Obama, not just Arpaio, and Jan Brewer, everybody listen. And that laws like SB 1070 are not just. And it's not just in Arizona, but these type of things are happening all over the state, all over the country, and we're fed up.
Meanwhile, here in New York, hundreds marched across the Brooklyn Bridge in a solidarity march on Thursday morning.
I'm Leticia Lanis from the organization La Unión in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. I think it's important that everybody raise their voices against SB 1070 and all other bills that try to criminalize immigrants. Immigrants are our friends, our co-workers, our neighbors, and they contribute to this country, so we should stand up now and really recognize their contributions.
My name is Kevin Davis. I'm I'm actually a youth organizer for the Yaya Network, which is youth activists, youth allies. But honestly, we're all one country and we're all united. So the fact that one state is hurting, all of us are hurting. The fact that one race is hurting, all of us are hurting.
Well, I'm Clementina from Vamos Unidos. We are here to support our brothers and sisters from Arizona. SB 1070 affects us everywhere. We started to see as street vendors right here in New York, when as soon as the law was applied over there in Arizona, a week later they were asking us for our immigration status to renew our vendor's license or take our vendor's license.
So my name is Monami Molik, and I am the executive director of DRUM. DRUM stands for Daisy's Rising Up and Moving. Whatever happens in Arizona, those same anti-immigrant policies find their way up all throughout the United States. For the last 10 years, Arizona has been a testing ground for the harshest anti-immigrant policies. And so, for example, the governor of New York State signed Secure Communities already in New York, which has not yet gone into effect but will. And when it does, it'll funnel thousands more into deportation. Just across the river, the governor has signed the 287G program, authorizing police officers to arrest people based on immigration status. So we feel that Arizona, maybe that law is not happening here, but there are many other harsh anti-immigrant deportation provisions that our communities are feeling right here in New York City.
My name is Sam.
All right, so again, let's recognize that 1996 set in motion this intense debate, and then the Sensenbrenner bill, the Terrorism Act, the Sensenbrenner bill, then Arizona kicks in. So this is the atmosphere that we're trying to appreciate in this course. All right, now.